Good afternoon, everyone, and I would just like to second those comments. It is hard to feed this many people such good food, so we really are appreciative of that. Thank you again. Over the last 7 years, Governor Ricketts has worked with the legislature to deliver billions in direct property tax relief, roll back the state spending growth, and create new workforce development programming. He's also cut unnecessary red tape to bolster Nebraska's business-friendly climate. The governor has partnered with economic development leaders on numerous initiatives, such as the Transportation Innovation Act, trade missions to China and Japan, and major tax relief proposals. And right now, he's leading the effort to stop President Biden's 30 by 30 land grab and dramatic expansion of the waters of the U.S. rule. Thank you to the governor for partnering with us to grow Nebraska. Please help me welcome the 40th governor of Nebraska, Pete Ricketts.
Well, thank you very much, Mandy, and welcome everybody. We're so pleased to have you in South Sioux City, and I think it's a great testament to the Siouxland Chamber to see how many people are here today. So let's give the Siouxland Chamber a great round of applause as well, please. So isn't it great just to be around people again? Isn't this nice? It's like normal, right? This is awesome. Well, I think that it is great for us to be able to start getting back together again like this so we can focus on the things that are going to be important, like growing the Siouxland area. You all don't need any encouragement in that. In fact, that you all continue to win the Site Selection Magazine Award for the most economic development projects for communities under 200,000 is testament to that. That's a group that is absolutely impartial, that is judging your success here and giving you these high awards. So it's a great testament. That's important because also no business comes to a generic place called Nebraska or Iowa or South Dakota. They come to a specific community, a welcoming community. And you all have developed that here, so you should be commended for it. And I think that all three states are well positioned to recover after this pandemic. I think one of the slides you get up on the screen shows that WalletHub says Iowa is the #1 fastest recovering state, Nebraska #2, and South Dakota #4. And while Governor Noem and I may argue with that one a little bit, I think directionally it's correct that here in the Midwest that we're doing very, very well. I know here in Nebraska that we've benefited from the fact that our #1 industries, agriculture and manufacturing, were both relatively pandemic resilient. And that our people were very anxious to continue to find ways to be innovative, to slow down the spread of the virus, but also make sure that we were allowing people to live a more normal life. And so we took the steps necessary to slow down the virus, but also to make sure that we were protecting people's livelihoods. And I think that was incredibly important. When I look back on this pandemic, the things I was measuring was looking at how many kids do we have in schools. Nebraska, with one measure, was about 6th best state with regard to that. I know South Dakota and Iowa were also very well on that. And that contrasts well to places like New York or California. In fact, I was just in California. April 22nd of this year, they had 62% of their grade schoolers, 37% of their middle schoolers, and 39% of their high schoolers had been in class throughout the 2021 school year. Folks, that is doing immeasurable damage to those kids on a number of different levels, whether it's the academic progression, their socialization, nutrition, mental health. I mean, there's so many important reasons why we have to have kids in classrooms. And I think you're going to look here in the Midwest, we did very, very well on that account. Obviously, unemployment is another key factor when we think about how well we're doing. Nebraska is sitting at 2.6% unemployment rate. That's the lowest we've had since 1999, so second lowest in the nation right now. And on average, throughout 2020, we had the lowest unemployment rate. Again, people getting back to work. And then, of course, slowing down the spread of the virus, pandemic, mortality rates. Nebraska, according to the Kaiser Foundation, had the 3rd lowest rate of mortality rate of people who actually became infected with the virus, and we were one of the top 10 lowest for overall mortality per 100,000. So what we did in Nebraska was successful. It allowed us to be able to continue to grow our state, make sure people could still enjoy the good life here in Nebraska, and slow down the spread of the virus. Now, we still have got work to do on that, but we can start looking forward now to how we are moving past the pandemic and getting back to that economic growth that's so important for our state. And as we look over the last legislative session we just had here in Nebraska, it was a very successful one. We passed our 2-year budget, which continued to control spending to about 2.4% a year. And I want to thank Senator Albright, who's sitting in the front row here, who was a key member of that team that helped us have a very successful legislative session. That controlling spending was key because that's allowed us to be able to also deliver in this next 2-year budget $1.8 billion in tax relief. 1.7 of that coming in property tax relief, but also being able to exempt our military retirement benefits from taxation, which, again, unfortunately, I got to admit, we're playing catch up with Governor Reynolds and Governor Noem here. They weren't taxing those benefits already, so we had to get competitive. But that's actually the great competition in states that drives that. We were also able to exempt about 50% of Social Security taxes from retirement as well. So again, that competition from the states helps drives excellence. And so we were able to catch up on those two fronts. We were also able to pass a truth in taxation bill so that people would know when their property taxes are going up because, again, they want to be able to have those conversations with their local elected officials on that. We were also able to pass, while controlling our spending and providing all that tax relief, a very significant bill with regard to rural broadband. $20 million in each of the next 2 years that will help us connect about 30,000 of our 80,000 households that don't have that broadband connectivity. And that's on top of what we did with our CARES Act money. We used about $30 million of CARES Act money to start connecting about 17,600 households to that rural broadband. You all know that's important. And then finally, we had a lot of other things going on in the session, but one of the other things we did that is relevant to this crowd is that we expanded our career scholarship program to include private institutions as well as the public institutions we had covered last year. So last year we passed in our budget the career scholarship program for our community colleges, state colleges, and the University of Nebraska system. And by adding in private colleges, what we'll see in this year, 21-22 school year, we'll do about $4 million in scholarships. Next year it'll be about $9 million. The year after that, $14 million. And the year after that, the intention would be to take that up to $20 million. So again, these are scholarships in a 4-year situation that you get a 4-year scholarship. In a 2-year situation, a 2-year scholarship. To be able to help our young people get those degrees in those high demand, high wage fields like IT, manufacturing, healthcare. All those kinds of things are going to be important for us developing that talent pipeline, which I know we're going to be talking about a little bit later. But overall, I think that all of us here in the Midwest are very well positioned to be able to grow. I can look and see what's happening on the coast, and I will tell you the quality of life that we have here is far superior to what they have going on in places like New York and California right now. And we ought to be using that as a competitive advantage to be able to draw people in. We've got a lot of work to do that. You all know as employers, it's tough to find people to hire. One of the things we have to do is we've got to get people back into the workforce. I know my colleagues here are doing that. And so we've got a lot of work ahead of us, but I think our opportunities here are so much better than those places on the coast. That we are going to be so much more competitive when it comes to offering the things that people are going to care about with regard to quality of life, job opportunities. Wallet Hub, for example, rated Nebraska the second best state to find a job. We will be able to use those types of rankings to be able to draw people in. And then finally, I just want to wrap up by saying this is my 4th Tri-State Governors Conference. It has been an honor to be here. It's an honor to host it here this year. And it's an even greater honor to be able to share this conference with Governor Kim Reynolds of Iowa and Governor Kristi Noem of South Dakota. Folks, I got to tell you, you have great governors in Iowa and South Dakota. They are doing a fantastic job, and that has really been highlighted throughout this pandemic as well. And one of the great things as Republican governors we did is we had calls twice a week with all the Republican governors were invited to be on, and we would share best practices and ideas. We've actually cut it down now to about every other week, but I will tell you, there's a great camaraderie between the governors who have worked together. And I will tell you, working with Governor Reynolds and Governor Noem has been a pleasure and an honor. They are both fantastic. Both the states of South Dakota and Iowa are in great hands with great leadership. And that's why, again, Siouxland is going to do well. We've got so many great things going on here. We've got so much support from the states for this community. I am excited to see how this is going to continue to grow. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it back over to Christy. But again, thank you all so much for being here today. I am excited about the opportunities. God bless you all, and God bless the great states of Nebraska, Iowa, and South Dakota.